Okay, your boy Mr. A. Dot, the sports guy Carter, is back with my co-star, baby Danielle. And I want to bring to you my NBA first round playoff predictions. All right, we're going to start with, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start with Toronto and Indiana. Now, at the time this video is going to be posted, that game is in the fourth quarter, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion before the series even started. And I got the DVR paused, so I don't even know who's going to win game one. But I got Indiana winning the series. Real talk, it's the, I like the coaching from Frank Vogel. I think Indiana has the best player on the court in Paul George, offensive scorer and a defensive stopper. And given Toronto's recent history, I just see Indiana, they're right for an upset. Not to mention, Kyle Lowry got to show up. Like Kyle Lowry was on a milk carton last year. And if he don't show up, they're going to have a tough time winning that series. Houston and Golden State. Okay. Right. Exactly. I don't know if Houston has any chance of winning that series, which they don't. James Harden got to average 40. Dwight Howard got to average 20 and 20 and 5 block shots a game. And Steph and or Clay got to be ice cold from three. Atlanta and Boston. That's a series that Boston could win. I think in Brad Stevens they had one of the best coaches in the NBA. Atlanta, I know they haven't played the same they played last year, but I think somewhere in there that 60+ win team is still there. The same pieces are in place. They just got off to a slower start for whatever reason and had some stumbles along the way. I'm gonna go with Atlanta. I'm gonna pick Atlanta. Just the collective experience. Thunder and Mavericks. I got the Thunder in 5. They'll give a game away. Dirk at his advanced age, he not the same player. I mean, he can inspire and rally the troops, but unless the ghost of Darren Williams past shows up, got no chance. Westbrook and Durant, Ibaka, the whole squad, just way too much. My thing. Oh wait, baby, hold on, wait a minute. Let me get to the second. Okay, the games for tomorrow. Let's start tomorrow. Let's start from the top. You got Cleveland and Detroit. Same thing here. Detroit has no chance. I would love to see my Pistons, take 2 games from the series, but Andre Drummond's 3-point free throw shooting is just such a hindrance, man. It's it kills momentum. It's in the back of every team's mind to know that if the Pistons get any kind of momentum or we get a big lead and they start chipping away, we can foul Drummond. Again, for them to compete in this series, Reggie Jackson has to play like a top 5 point guard. The other guys, the Tobias Harrises of the world and Marcus Morrises of the world, they've been consistent throughout the season. In KCP, they have to raise their game and be that same consistent throughout the series. And Andre Drummond's got to dominate Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love and whoever else they throw in there. And he's got to be a 20 and 20. Seriously, a 20 and 20 guy. Like Dwight Howard against Golden State, if they have any chance of winning. I don't see it happening. No chance to win there. Miami and Charlotte. I'm going with the Heat. Charlotte's had a remarkable season. Kemba Walker's playing the best ball of his career. Gerald Henderson, all those guys. Not Gerald Henderson, I'm sorry, Marvin Williams. They're playing some good basketball. Clifford's a great coach. But, you know, even without Chris Bosh, young Hassan Whiteside is holding it down inside. You know, the rookie Richardson, you know, Justice Winslow, D-Wade, Dragic, they just, and Spoelstra, another underrated coach. Many people believe his coaching, his accomplishments because, you know, the big three and LeBron James. And although obviously having LeBron boosts your accomplishments, he's a pretty good coach in his own right. And so they'll handle business against the Hornets. Next up, you have the Grizzlies and the Spurs. Now this is another come on series. Like, even if the Memphis Grizzlies were healthy, this might be a come on. You know what? Take that back, because the Grizzlies did upset a number one seeded Spurs team as the 8th seed some years back. So if they had Gasol and Conley, then this might be a competitive series just based off, you know, style of play and the grindhouse and all that. But Zach Randolph is pretty much on his own, unless Lance Stevenson becomes like overnight sensational wing in the blink of an eye. Listen, the Spurs are on a mission. In their minds, they are destined to meet the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals and knock off the champs. And Pop and those guys aren't going to let a depleted Memphis Grizzlies team derail them from that objective. So Grizzlies have no chance in this, man. You know, I don't even have to mention the guys for the Spurs, but I will. You know, Aldridge, Leonard, Parker, Ginobili, Green, Duncan for all his, you know, his defense, if nothing else. Just too much, man. This is going to be a sweep. I can't even give the Grizzlies a game, and they have a great home court advantage, man. But I mean, let's just be real. And last but certainly not least, you got the Clippers and the Trailblazers. This might be the most compelling series of the playoffs. For the Clippers, you got Blake Griffin. He's back. And they're whole again now. I know there was some talk about the Clippers being a better team without him than with him. Well, their showings against the best teams in the leagues, the Golden States, the Clevelands, the San Antonios of the world, they got destroyed without him. So let's dead that notion now. They're a better team with him. They just play a different style, but they're a better team with him. And going against a Portland team, you know, I wouldn't have thought they would have needed him if it wasn't for the fact that Portland's playing above their heads right now with the emergence of C.J. McCollum, my pick for most improved player, and Damian Lillard going on the second half tear. You know, he's been on. He'll be on one of those All-NBA teams, even though he didn't make the All-Star team because, well, fans vote for people who shouldn't be on All-Star teams and they take up spaces. But that's a video for another day. The blessing in disguise for the Clippers with Griffin's injury is that if they didn't know it before, they should realize how deep of a team they are. We all know about Jamal Crawford off the bench, but you know Wesley Johnson, one of the good names, played well, and they're a deep team, and I think that depth will wear on Portland. Chris Paul in Blake Griffin's absence upped his assists, upped his scoring. And if it weren't for the fact that there are guys in front of him having historic seasons, Chris Paul might have been the MVP this year. Chris Paul reminds me of Isaiah Thomas in that regard, in that he's an MVP caliber player, but because he plays in an era with guys above him having historic years almost every year, he'll probably never win an MVP, but he's definitely an MVP caliber player. So, just side note while I'm talking about him, it's got to be a tough spot to be Doc Rivers, right, in the Clippers franchise, because for all the strides you've made and all the great things you've done turning that franchise around. Due to your playoff failures in the recent past, namely blowing a 3-1 series lead, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if you go on to beat Portland, now I'm forecasting, but if you go on to beat Portland, I think you'll see the Warriors in the second round. And no one expects you to win, right? You probably shouldn't win. They're an all-time great team based off the regular season they had. And it's a shame for Doc and the Clippers, because here you'll have another early playoff exit when you should probably be farther along, or people think you should be farther along, right? And if you don't blow that 3-1 series lead against Houston and you make it to the Western Conference Finals, this Warriors team this year isn't the same team from last year. I mean, the players are the same, but it's a different mentality this year. And they realize how good they are. Maybe they didn't realize that last year until they got in the finals and started winning games. I think that Clippers team last year could have beaten that Warriors team last year. This Clippers team this year probably has no shot to beat the Warriors team this year, and that'll put more pressure on Doc. It'll put more pressure on ownership. And if you're a Clippers fan, you just have to hope they don't kind of overreact to it and blow the team up. But man, this is what happens when you blow, 3-1 series leads. When you have a legit shot, your best chance since this thing got going, to make it to the NBA Finals. But they should handle Portland, and it'll make for some nice second round matchups. So those are my predictions. We'll check back later and see how I did.